Unlock the 7 miraculous chakras, divine energy healing for supernatural transformation in 40 days. In the verdant heart of a quaint village, where lush fields kissed the sky, Sarah was a devoted mother, her spirit as vibrant as the blooming wildflowers. Yet, as her young son, Daniel, lay in bed, pallid and frail, her world began to shatter like fragile glass. The doctors had delivered their grim message. Hope seemed as distant as a fading star. Fear consumed her, each pulse of her heart echoing her son's shallow breaths. But amidst the encroaching darkness, faith flickered like a candle flame, refusing to extinguish. Desperately seeking divine intervention, Sarah felt compelled to embark on a 40-day journey of prayer and devotion. She envisioned herself weaving a sacred tapestry of faith, inspired by the teachings of her small church community. As she prayed, whispers filled her heart, a realization of the 7 miraculous chakras. Initially foreign, the deeper meaning emerged like dawn breaking overnight. Each chakra revealing divine healing energy intertwined with biblical virtues: faith, hope, love, healing, courage, surrender, and transformation. She shared her vision with Pastor Thomas, a beacon of wisdom who had shepherded her village through many storms. He nodded, his eyes sparkling with understanding. "We are called to seek the miraculous, Sarah. Our faith can align with these energies in powerful ways." With renewed fervor, Sarah crafted prayers that danced with scripture, invoking the very essence of each chakra, and creating a connection to divine healing. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications, so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But like shadows creeping at dusk, doubt began to darken her heart. Skeptical relatives began to question her resolve. "Why dabble in New Age ideas?" they murmured, their words knives of disbelief. Each failed attempt at unconventional remedies left her spirit adrift, a tempest within her raging against the calm she once held. Yet her love for Daniel anchored her soul, preventing her from losing herself completely. In the midst of her spiritual tempest, an evening emerged fraught with intensity. As Sarah knelt in prayer, enveloped by candlelight, a powerful vision struck, bringing dazzling clarity. She was drawn to a local saint's shrine, long revered for countless miracles. It was a place where the community whispered prayers, each voice rising in unity, seeking solace from the divine. With heart pounding, she felt an inexplicable warmth, a flicker of hope that ignited her spirit once again. As she relayed her vision to the villagers, they rallied around her, sharing their own stories of faith and doubt. Laughter and tears mingled in the air, each testimony pulling Sarah closer to the divine light. As the days dwindled, anticipation hung thick like morning mist. The community prayed with her, woven together by their collective belief. Now, as the 40 days approached their culmination, the air crackled with spiritual energy. Could Sarah's fervent prayers unlock miraculous healing for her beloved son? With every incantation of scripture and each chakra awakened, her heart raced suspended between hope and despair. Jesus himself had said, "Where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them." Standing on the precipice of the miraculous, could faith and prayer unleash a transformation woven by divine hands? The answer loomed uncertainly ahead. Yet it was clear, Sarah and her community would face this trial together. Their love and belief, familiar as an old hymn, stirring in the night air. As dawn broke over the quaint village, the sun weaved golden threads through the early morning mist. Sarah awoke to the sound of soft whispers. Light streamed through her window, casting a radiant glow that felt like a warm embrace. Her heart swelled with a renewed sense of purpose. Today was the last day of her 40-day journey. Would her faith culminate in a miracle? Determined, she gathered her prayers, each one a sweet melody dedicated to Daniel. With every word, she poured herself into the task, echoing the teachings of the sacred chakras, faith swirling like vibrant red at the base of her spine, hope sparkling bright as orange in her belly, love radiating the warmth of the sun in her heart. As she visualized each chakra, she felt the energy within her begin to flow. It was a river, strong and clear, washing away doubts and fears. Sarah remembered the stories of those who had come to the saint's shrine before her. Stories of healing, transformation, and grace. Each tale had slipped into her heart like an arrow, piercing the darkness with hope. Now, she longed to witness such grace for Daniel, to share his joy and laughter once again. The villagers gathered as the sun reached its zenith. They formed a circle around her home, a living testament to faith. Their faces radiated strength and unity. "Let us pray, together," Pastor Thomas called out, his voice steady as he raised his hands. Sarah felt a surge of energy thrumming in the air. It was palpable, a pulse that echoed the love they shared. With every prayer uniting their spirits, Sarah began to recite the sacred chants she had composed. Each chakra illuminated as she called upon the divine. In faith we stand, bound together. In hope we rise, restored and made whole. In love we triumph, binding our hearts to the Creator. As her words intertwined with theirs, the wind picked up, swirling leaves into a rainbow storm dancing above them. It was as if heaven itself was acknowledging their endeavor. Faith unfurled like banners in the breeze, lifting the spirits of all present. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Sarah's eye. There, near the window, Daniel stirred. He blinked, his heavy eyelids open, the glow of recognition illuminating his face. Tears cascaded down Sarah's cheeks, spilling over like raindrops upon thirsty soil. Her heart raced. Could it be true? Was he awakening from his slumber? The prayers intensified, rising to a crescendo, like a choir belting out a hymn of triumph. Each villager's spirit surged forward, merging with God's grace. Sarah felt warmth radiate from her core, spreading like ripples in a pond, enveloping them all. But just as joy surged, a flicker of doubt crept back into her mind. Could this truly be the moment? As hope danced hand in hand with uncertainty, she clung to her faith. Jesus had promised that with God, all things were possible. Daniel's tiny body quivered as Sarah knelt by his side. She reached for his little hand, warmth flooding her. Would he grasp it strongly, a sign of resurrection? Would he give her a reassuring squeeze, as he had done during more joyful times? As she gazed into her son's eyes, time suspended. The air was thick with divine anticipation. What would happen next? In that moment of uncertainty, the world seemed to pause, waiting for the unfolding of a miracle. Could the unwavering spirit of a mother, the collective strength of a community, and heavenly grace converge to perform the extraordinary? The answer remained tantalizingly close, yet just out of reach. The light spilled into the room, mingling with whispers of hope. The story was not over yet. As the warmth of hope enveloped her, Sarah's gaze remained fixed on Daniel's fragile form. His little chest, frail but steady, began to rise and fall with a gentle rhythm. Was it the miracle she had dreamed of, or merely the flutter of breath? The villagers around her leaned closer, their collective breath held in reverence, each heart echoing her fervent longing. "Daniel, my love," she breathed softly, as if whispering secrets of the universe into his stillness. Her hand enclosed his, cradling his warmth, willing him to awaken, to respond. The air shimmered with possibility, vast, wondrous, and shimmering like the early morning dew. In that moment, everything around her blazed with light golden halos glimmering from the sun's ascent. Murmurs of prayer surrounded them, creating a tapestry of sound that rose like incense, curling up to the heavens. Sarah felt the vibrations of the spirits connecting but wondered, was this true? Was he truly awakening, or was she chasing an illusion? "Open your eyes, dear one," she urged, tears streaming down her face, pooling with desperation. Let them see the beauty of your spirit, the light of your heart. The collective prayers reached a fever pitch, hands outstretched, voices entwined in harmony. And then, something shifted. A tentative sigh escaped Daniel's lips, followed by a fluttering of his eyelids. Hope surged through Sarah like a tidal wave, washing over her with sacred joy. She was certain now, the miracle was imminent. But uncertainty lingered on the outskirts of her heart. What if this was not the ending she longed for? What if the miracle was still cocooned in the clouds, waiting for the right moment to descend? Her prayers mustered urgency, wrapping around her like an iron cloak. In faith, we stand, she recited with deep conviction. Then, in a divine moment unprecedented, Daniel's eyes fully opened, vast and bright as the morning sky. He blinked slowly, taking in the faces of those gathered, their expressions woven with love and hope. Mother, his voice was a delicate whisper, but it echoed with astounding clarity. The community inhaled sharply, caught between disbelief and unwavering faith. It was the sound of divine grace breaking through. It was the undeniable proof of life. I'm here, darling. I'm right here. Sarah trembled, bending closer to his fragile form. She squeezed his hand tight, a tether to ensure he knew he was not alone. Around them, the villagers erupted in a chorus of hallelujahs, affirming the miraculous moment before them. But in the midst of jubilation, Sarah's heart flickered with a question, shadowed by the glow of joy. Was this the complete miracle she sought? Was Daniel whole again, or had his journey merely taken an unexpected turn? The air thickened with uncertainty, vision blurred by tears. She focused on Daniel's face. It was illuminated, a look of serenity radiating from him, yet his soft gaze seemed to peer beyond her past the moment, past the village, and into realms she could not yet comprehend. Mother, I saw something. His voice trailed off, rich with depth, suggesting layers of wisdom unknown to her. The village held its breath once more, absolutely transfixed. Sarah leaned in closer, her heart racing, yet steady, drawn by an unexplainable force. What did you see, my love? What lies beyond this moment? As the weight of his words hung in the air, a deeper mystery awaited revelation. What truths lay ahead? What greater purpose awaited their family at this divine crossroads? The light in the room shone brighter, an invitation to delve into divine revelations yet untold. What stories would unfold from Daniel's whisper? What heavenly insights awaited the embrace of their hearts? As Daniel's eyes, bright like the dawn, held Sarah's gaze, an inexplicable stillness settled over the gathering. The villagers, a patchwork of faces marked by hope and wonder, remained poised like sculpted figures drawn into the sacred moment. Their breaths mingled in the still air, a living altar of anticipation, an electric current that hummed through the fabric of the universe. What did you see? Sarah repeated, captivated by the tender yet profound inquiry that hovered between them, heavy with promise. Daniel's lips parted slightly, yet the words remained suspended, like a bird caught in mid-flight, its destination unclear. I saw light, mother, so much light, and voices, his brow furrowed, as if struggling to grasp the memories from some distant realm. They called me by name, urging me to come forward. An audible sigh escaped one of the villagers behind Sarah. The expression on their face mirrored many relief. Disbelief, mystique, all wrapped in a single heartbeat. Sarah felt that familiar warmth, the flood of love that always accompanied Daniel, enveloping her in a cocoon of reassurance. Voices. What voices, Daniel? She pressed, her heart pulsating with excitement and a slight tinge of fear. She needed to understand. She needed to witness the depths of his experience. They spoke of peace, Daniel continued, his voice steadying, of a place without pain or fear. It was beautiful, Mom, like a garden filled with colors beyond what we know. I wanted to stay there. Sarah's throat tightened. The garden he described resonated like a promise, yet it sent a tremor through her spirit. Was it a warning, or an invitation? As she held his hand tighter, grounding him back to their shared reality, she drew on the quiet strength within her. A paradox of wonder and dread unfurled in her heart. What lay beyond the veil of life was both captivating and intimidating. The murmurs among the villagers grew louder, sparks of conversation igniting the air. Could he be touched by the divine? What does it mean? Is he truly whole? Each question echoed her own, and she sensed the weight of their hopes pressing in. "Did you find anyone?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Did you see anyone we know?" His brow knitted in concentration. "I think I saw Grandma." She smiled at me. I felt her love, strong and warm. An uproar of mixed emotions erupted. Many wept, some smiled, and most clasped their hands tightly. A chorus of gratitude and awe filling the sacred space. Sarah found her breath eluding her. How blessed, and yet how heavy this moment felt. She wanted Daniel to see the light, but what light came with shadows? "Daniel, what do you want?" "I want to help them." The answer came as clarity cascaded through a veil of confusion. "They wanted me to tell you that love is the key. Love is the light that heals. It's the miracle we all seek. We must not forget that." In that instant, the weight of his insight shifted the atmosphere. It was as though the heavens opened wider, pouring down streams of clarity. The villagers began nodding, recognizing a truth deeper than mere words, calling to action, a gentle nudge from above. Sarah's heart swelled at her son's wisdom, and yet a current of fear laced through her, fear of the unknown. What would it take to share this love? What sacrifices and trials lay ahead? Just as the villagers began to process his words, and the miraculous essence enveloping the moment, uncertainty whispered again in Sarah's heart. What if our journey is not yet complete? She pondered, her voice drifting into the gentle breeze, almost like a prayer returning to her. They gathered close, forming an unbroken circle of faith. What awaited them on this path of discovery? Would they be prepared for the exploration of their souls, or would the light reveal shadows they were not ready to confront? The air thickened with anticipation, a silent promise of what lay beyond the horizon. With Daniel's words echoing in their hearts, the question lingered in the sacred silence. What further miracles awaited them as they dared to embrace the call to love? The villagers stood there, cocooned in the atmosphere of wonder and gratitude, yet unease gripped Sarah's heart. As if sensing the weight of her thoughts, Daniel squeezed her hand. Something in the tenderness of that gesture reminded her of the bond between the man, unbroken thread of love that transcended fear. And yet she couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was only beginning. What does it mean for us to share this love? Sarah found herself asking aloud, a question that hung in the air, seeking an answer within the collective spirit gathered around them. A hush fell over the crowd, and even the wind seemed to pause, holding its breath along with the villagers. One elderly man, his face a map of lines and stories, stepped forward. "We all carry burdens," he began, his voice a soft tremor. "What if the love Daniel speaks of is a balm for our wounds? What if sharing that love heals our hearts?" His words ignited a flicker of hope among the villagers. Heads nodded, whispers of agreement swirling like leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Someone cried out, "Yes, let us support each other. Let love be our guide." The flames of determination flickered in Sarah's heart. Could they really be a light for others? Could they let love manifest through their actions and words? Daniel's vision urged something deep within her, awakening a spirit of unity and compassion she longed to embrace. "Let's gather at the river tomorrow," Sarah suggested, feeling the divinity in the idea spark within her. "Let's take the love he saw and spread it into the lives of those who need it most. Let's feed the hungry, nurture the weary. Listen to those in pain." Her voice grew stronger, fueled by the spirit that surrounded them. The villagers listened, and with each word, she watched as their faces transformed hope, blossoming like flowers in springtime. Excitement bubbled within her, tinged with holy urgency. "Let us not only speak of love, but act in love," someone exclaimed. The group stirred, hearts aligning like stars in a celestial tapestry, each person deciding to take part in this divine call. Plans were whispered among friends, ideas sparking joy amidst the shared purpose. As night began to cloak the sky with a blanket of twinkling stars, Daniel gazed upward, his eyes reflecting the light above as if searching for answers among the constellations. "Mom, what if this light we see is not just for us to feel, but for us to share? What if we become channels of it?" A hush fell over them again, the beauty of the revelation wrapping itself around each soul present. Sarah felt a ripple of warmth engulf her, a reminder that they were never alone in this journey. Divine energy pulsed through them, igniting a yearning to embrace the unknown challenges ahead. With newfound passion, the villagers began to sing a melody of hope and determination that floated upward, intertwining with the breeze. Their voices rose together, fading into the night, mingling with prayers and dreams left unspoken. "Tomorrow, we'll meet the love we've been called to share," Sarah affirmed. "We'll spread the light." Yet, even in this moment of unity, a silent question loomed large within her heart. What tests would they face on this journey of love? Had they truly prepared themselves for the shadows that might rise against their light? As the last note lingered, stretching into the star-clad night, the villagers found comfort in each other's presence. A firm belief formed in their spirits: love would guide them, even when the path ahead grew dark. Would they uncover the strength within themselves to illuminate the world? The village now grappled with the profound potential of their decision. Were a miracle somehow intertwined with both joy and sacrifice, waiting patiently to be revealed? As dawn broke, a warm golden light seeped into the village, casting an ethereal glow. Sarah rose from her sleep, the anticipation of the day ahead tingling through her veins. The weight of last night's gathering lingered in her heart, whispering promises of love and hope. She could hardly wait to see the faces of her neighbors as they embraced this shared purpose. Stepping outside, she breathed in the fresh morning air. The world felt alive, as if creation itself rejoiced in their plans. Birds chirped jubilantly, the trees swayed gently, and even the distant river seemed to beckon them with its soothing song. Daniel joined her, his small hand brushing against hers. "Are you ready?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with innocent excitement. "More than ever," Sarah replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. She looked at him, recognizing him as a vital piece of this unfolding journey. In his innocence lay a faith that inspired her. The village began to stir, drawn together by the promise of love they had all agreed to share. Sarah and Daniel walked hand in hand, greeting their neighbors. A sense of unity coursed through them all, like a living thread in energy that felt almost tangible. When they reached the riverbank, they were met by a surge of vibrant faces. Everyone wore expressions of eagerness and determination. The elderly man who had first spoken of burdens and love was already there, arms open as if to embrace the very spirit of compassion. "We stand here to become instruments of love," he declared, his voice echoing in the open air. "Today, we will cast aside our fears and ignite hope in those who need it most." There was a collective murmur of agreement. Sarah felt a spark of inspiration kindle in her chest. She raised her voice: "Let us gather our strength. We're here to listen, to serve, and to share whatever we can offer." A chorus of amens rang out. Hands were joined in a circle, forming a bond that felt woven by divinity itself. Together, they looked out over the water, shimmering under the sun, ready to carry their blessings forth. As they set to work, Sarah noticed the simplicity in their actions: a shared meal being prepared, care provided to the elderly, laughter and conversation shared between neighbors. Love flowed freely amid the current of their commitments. And with every act of kindness, their hearts seemed to swell, nourished by the joy of giving. Yet, as the sun reached its zenith, a shadowy figure appeared on the horizon, casting a momentary chill across their gathering. It was a traveler, a stranger, trudging towards them, his face strained and weary. "What do we do?" one villager whispered, anxiety rippling through the group. "What if he brings trouble?" But Sarah felt a pull in her spirit. He comes in need. Isn't that exactly why we gathered? To welcome love, no matter how it looks. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward to meet the stranger. Welcome, friend. Please, join us. We have enough for all. A hush fell, and she could sense the tension shift. The villagers looked to their leader, and in that moment, perhaps they also realized the magnitude of their call to love uninterrupted. Would they embrace this unexpected realization, or would fear dictate their hearts? The traveler stopped, his eyes searching theirs, uncertain and hopeful. What miracles would unfold today in the face of human vulnerability? Would love truly overcome every barrier? As the villagers waited in silence, hearts open and breathing shared, one undeniable truth loomed in the air. The choice to welcome love often comes wrapped in the unknown. What would this stranger bring to their collective journey? Would the villagers rise to the occasion and prove that love can break through all darkness? The traveler took a hesitant step forward, his gaze resting on Sarah as if searching for something profound in her warm smile. The villagers stood, breath held, caught in the tension of the moment. A whisper of wind danced through the trees, breaking the silence with soft encouragement. Thank you, he finally managed, his voice a rasp of weariness. I've walked far and, if I'm honest, lost my way. Sarah's heart thudded in her chest. This was where love truly manifested, not in shadows, but in the light of vulnerability. You are welcome here, she affirmed. We gathered to share whatever we have, food, warmth, and companionship. With that invitation, the villagers looked at one another, uncertainty slowly melting as compassion surged. Daniel, always keen to illuminate every moment, rushed forward. What's your name? He asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. Elias, the traveler replied. I come seeking refuge. The elderly man stepped forward, and his presence radiated comfort. Elias, as a community, we believe in the power of connection. Life has a way of leading us to those who need us most, and today, you are part of our family. As breaths steady, laughter bubbled through the crowd, light-hearted prayer, lifting burdens they didn't know they carried. They led Elias towards the communal table, laden with colors and scents. Flavors mixed like the lives interwoven there, each dish a testament to collective love. Sarah, unimposing yet strong, poured a cup of steaming tea and offered it to Elias. As he accepted it, their fingers brushed ever so slightly, and a spark ignited one that spoke of an unspoken understanding, not just of need, but of something deeper, responsibility, trust, hope. Drink, and let us share stories, the elderly man encouraged, settling into an empty chair beside Elias. For every story contained within us is a seed waiting to bloom. One by one, stories unfolded. Villagers spoke of past struggles and present joys, and in each tale lay a thread binding them closer together. With every laugh, every tear, a new layer of love was forged. Elias listened intently, absorbing their joy and spirit as if it were lifeblood. What if love is simply a series of connections? Sarah wondered aloud, eyes sparkling with possibilities. What if, in sharing our truths, we heal each other? A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. Hearts that had once felt heavy began to rise. The sun, now high above, seemed to shine brighter, illuminating faces filled with newfound courage. But as the joy swelled, so too did a flicker of discord. A shadow passed over a few faces, a fleeting doubt. One villager, a woman with eyes filled with honest fear, spoke slowly. What if trust leads to disappointment? What if we extend generosity and it's met with betrayal? Her words hung in the air like a sudden chill. Silence stretched, wrapping around the gathering. Yet Sarah stood undeterred, her heart steadfast against the current of anxiety. In vulnerability lies our greatest strength. Love doesn't always come back dressed in expectation. Sometimes, it's cloaked in silence. Elias looked deep into the woman's eyes, his expression softening. I understand the fear. We've all faced darkness in our lives. But what if we let love light the way, even in uncertainty? Her shoulders relaxed. The tension slowly unwinded as the village pondered this truth. Daniel, innocent yet wise, chimed in. It's like when you're lost in the woods. If you stay still, you'll be alone. But if you move towards the light, you might just find your way back home. With laughter back in the air, Sarah thought of the unfolding journey ahead. They had taken the first step together, but what lay beyond would require even deeper faith and courage. As the sun began its descent, casting a golden hue over the faces around the riverbank, a sense of sacredness enveloped them. What more could they discover about love's power as they faced their fears together? And in that moment, the question lingered like a whisper among them. What transformation awaits when hearts are willing to welcome the unknown? The sun dipped lower, painting the sky with warm hues, as if the heavens themselves were celebrating this newfound connection. Laughter mixed with the gurgle of the river, creating a symphony that spoke of hope. As night began its gentle descent, the time had come for the village to share another layer of their story. Elias, still cradling the warm cup, found himself surrounded by curious faces, each carrying the weight of their own journeys. There was a genuine longing for understanding. They were ready to open their hearts and listen to the voice of the traveler. With a deep breath, he began to share fragments of his path through the world. I was born in a land where shadows loomed large, he started, his voice steady despite the tremor of emotion. Every step I took felt heavy, like a weight dragging me down. But it was in the darkness that I began to search for light. The villagers leaned in, captivated. They could see the scars on his soul, even if faint, and felt the resonance of his struggles within their own. Elias spoke of the trials and tribulations he faced, lost loved ones, broken promises, and uncertain paths. With each word, it was clear he was retracing a sacred journey, one that echoed their own experiences. But amid that chaos, he continued, his eyes glimmering with sincerity. I learned that light exists in the most unexpected places. I met a kind stranger who, like you, welcomed me without hesitation. She shared her food, her laughter, and showed me that hope can spring forth from every crack of despair. Daniel, with his innocent wisdom, added, it's like when the sun breaks through the dark clouds. No matter how thick the clouds are, the sun always finds a way to shine through. His words wrapped around them, reminding everyone of the resilience they held deep within. Elias nodded, a wave of peace washing over him. This moment of shared vulnerability felt sacred, as if it were a reminder that they weren't alone in their journeys. Together, we foster healing. Love opens doors, bridges gaps, and transforms lives. But we must choose to embrace it even when it feels risky. A ripple of understanding moved through the villagers, igniting a fire of reflection. Trust is frail, yet it is also a fierce flame ignited by shared experiences. A sense of responsibility grew. They weren't merely hearers of stories, but the offsprings of a collective heart. Suddenly, the woman who had first expressed doubt stood up again. But what if we fall? What if we expose our hearts only to be hurt? Her voice was laden with the tension of fear, yet above it loomed a desire for truth. Elias smiled gently, his heart racing with empathy. In falling, we don't just break, we rise anew. Beautiful things can come from our broken pieces. The messages life sends us are not meant to break us. Rather, they're invitations to grow. Like flowers striving toward sunlight, love teaches us to stretch, even amidst storms. A collective sigh filled the air, a moment where doubts began to dissolve in the presence of such profound connection. What they feared could separate them was beginning to unite them. The gentle twilight wrapped itself around them, as if sealing them in a sacred embrace. As the stars peeked through the deepening night, each twinkling light became a reminder of dreams yet to be fulfilled. Sarah gazed at the unfolding expressions, faces transitioning from fear to solidarity, from isolation to community. What lies ahead? Her heart whispered. A sense of excitement mixed with uncertainty settled in her spirit. They were embarking on a path laden with possibility. And though the night was drawing close, a deeper journey awaited them all. What revelations awaited them under the watchful gaze of the stars, as their hearts dared to open further? The fire crackled softly, sending sparks dancing into the starry sky. The aroma of wood smoke mingled with the cool night air, creating a comforting cocoon for the villagers. Elias felt the warmth of the flames mirrored in the hearts surrounding him. Their faces, illuminated by flickering light, carried more than just curiosity. No, they bore the promise of understanding. "Listen closely," Elias urged, his voice now a gentle current flowing through the quiet night. "There's a deep magic in the act of sharing our stories. Each tale, each scar, tells a vital part of who we are. It's like threads weaving into the grand tapestry of life." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd as others began to feel the weight of their own experiences. Tilda, a quiet figure at the edge, spoke up. "But what if we edit our stories? What if we only show the good parts?" Elias turned, meeting her questioning gaze. "We all have chapters of light and dark. Pretending our lives are only sunshine denies the reality of the shadows. Every piece, every tear we shed, every joy we embraced, has its rightful place in the story. Healing comes from embracing the entirety of our being." A soft whisper of wind caressed them, carrying with it the murmurs of the past, and in that moment, it felt as though the village held its breath. They wanted to embrace truth. They wanted to breathe deeply of their realities. Daniel piped up again, his eyes wide with sincerity. "But when we tell our stories, does it mean we have to relive the hurt?" Elias nodded slowly, recognizing the child's concern. "Not relive, but rather, to understand. It's like holding a star that shines brightly, yet it's on a path littered with meteors. Those moments don't define us, but they do guide us." More silence followed, each villager lost in thought, contemplating their own journeys. Elias perceived the collective weight lightening, glimmers of hope dancing in their hearts. He took a moment to let the energy settle, allowing his words to take root. "Now is the time to share." A wave of anticipation fluttered through the group. If you stand up, speak, and share fragments of your own stories, it can draw us closer. It's not about what we lack. It's about the grace and beauty we find in our shared challenges. Nervously, Sarah took a breath and stood up. "Once, I lost everything I held dear. I couldn't see the way forward. But through it all, the community rallied around me, reminding me that love never leaves us empty. It teaches us resilience." Her voice quivered, but she pressed on. "I realize that, when we choose to let others in, we uncover aspects of ourselves previously hidden. And this discovery, this unfolding of our hearts, is profoundly beautiful." Cheers erupted, laughter mixed with tears, and one by one, more stories spilled forth, creating a mosaic of shared wisdom and healing. Each tale ignited something within the listeners. They were learning to stitch the broken pieces together, forming a tapestry resplendent with the colors of life. Yet, in the midst of shared warmth, an uncertainty lingered. The woman who had questioned earlier shifted nervously. "What if we openly share, and our vulnerability isn't respected? What if it gets turned against us?" Elias felt the weight of her words. Anxiety can bind us, fear can paralyze us. But understand this, the risk of love is far greater than the fear of exposure. When we truly embrace love, we find support in the most unexpected corners. His words hung in the air, a fragile thread connecting their spirits to something greater. As the intensity of sharing continued to blossom, unseen forces stirred in the quiet space around them. The stars above shimmered with promise, and the night deepened. What new truths awaited in the shadows of their hearts, just beyond the horizon of their fears? The night deepened, and a gentle breeze whispered through the trees. The villagers sat in rapture, their hearts open and their spirits intertwining in the sacred air. With each shared story, walls crumbled, and healing flowed like the river beside them. Each tale became a seed planted in fertile soil, waiting for the warmth of love and community to nurture it. Sarah looked around, her heart swelling with gratitude. The faces of her neighbors glowed under a blanket of stars, illuminated not just by the firelight, but by hope rekindled. Each individual, once a solitary story, had now become part of a grander narrative, a rippling tapestry, woven by faith and love. A young woman stood up next, her hands trembling slightly. I lost my father last winter. The pain was unbearable, felt isolated, but today, hearing you all, I understand I'm not alone in my grief. We can walk through hard times together. You've shown me we can lean on one another. Her voice cracked with emotion, but it held a resolute strength. Tears pooled in unexpected eyes, hands intermingled in silent support. In that moment, vulnerability transformed fear into unity, illuminating their bonds. Elias, feeling the energy surge, spoke with conviction. In our sharing, we are not just disclosing pain, but transforming it into strength. Healing happens in community. We hold the pieces of each other's stories, and when we reflect with love, we magnify the light. Daniel, with his innocent heart, piped up, once again. It's like sharing our toys. If everyone plays together, we can make something amazing. Laughter erupted, and joy bloomed even in the heaviness of their memories. As laughter filled the night, an older villager, known for his deep wisdom, stood up. Perhaps we need to remember our light is not only for ourselves. It's meant to be a lantern for others who wander in darkness. We can guide each other home, just as we now collectively see the power of love. Hope ignited like kindling. Hearts quickened with newfound purpose. The villagers nodded, their spirits rising. They were ready to carry this love beyond the riverbank, beyond adversity, to every corner of their village. As night embraced the community in her velvet arms, Sarah felt the urgency swell inside her. Let's not just celebrate our stories tonight. Let us also commit to sharing this newfound love with those who still wander in shadows. Let us visit the sick, feed the hungry, and comfort those lost in their own darkness. A chorus of agreement followed like a hymn rising to the heavens. Each villager felt the sacred call to action burning brightly within their souls. Even Daniel, still brimming with energy, clapped his hands in delight. Can we bring cookies? Laughter broke through the intensity, a reminder of simple joys that could brighten the veil of sorrow. The elderly man chimed in. Every cookie carries love. Every smile is a seed of faith. The impulse that surged through them now felt divine, wrapping them in purpose. The villagers gathered close, forming a circle once more, hands clasped together, ready to embark on this transformative journey. Elias raised his hands in blessing. Let us pray, drawing down the light that will carry us forward. Voices rose. Melodies of faith and hope danced through the stillness, a sacred chorus that reached to the skies. As they prayed, Sarah felt an overwhelming peace enveloping her. In the quietude, she sensed a profound presence, a deep affirmation that they were stepping into their calling. Love was igniting a fire, a movement that could touch lives in ways they hadn't dared to dream. When the prayer ended, each heart remained awakened, inspired to act. The villagers took to their feet, resolutions crystallizing in their minds and hearts. Sarah beamed at her son. Tonight is the start of something wonderful. Love is our compass, guiding us through every storm we may face. With determination shimmering in their eyes, they prepared to share their gifts with the world beyond them. As they walked towards the riverbank, hand in hand, ready to embrace every heart that awaited their touch, Sarah understood. This was the miracle, the beautiful intertwining of lives, of shared love and purpose, reclaiming their village. And as the first light of dawn began to break, illuminating the path ahead, a promise hung in the air. Through love, they could foster healing, and together, they could create a bright new beginning. The journey was just beginning, and they would walk it hand in hand, full of faith, joy, and an unshakable bond, a living testament to what love can truly achieve. So, dear viewer, if this story resonated with your heart, this is your moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive faith-filled stories that will uplift your spirit. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the power of love and community. Leave a like to feed the algorithm. And don't forget to comment below your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. Together, let's spread the light.